Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I am with you until I got you. You got about an hour. About an hour. I would do it longer, but I got somewhere to be. I have to be in Seven Hills at 7 o'clock, so I need to leave here about 6:30. And I got here as quickly as I could, cause I know I've been neglecting y'all. And I don't, it's not my thing. I'm not a neglectful person. But y'all know the deal. I'm a little busy. So let's get to it. And I have questions for y'all. Yes, I have questions for you. So get ready to answer my questions. And I need phone calls. Not like a lot of phone calls. It's going to be hard to answer my question by, typing. So I need people to call me and let me know. But before I go there, let me say hello to everyone. If you're new to the show, it's kind of like a new show. I haven't been here for, it feels like a month. So it's almost like a new show. So the format is, I'm going to say hello to the people who say hello to me, and then we'll move into something else. And it might not be a whole lot of people here today, because like I said, I haven't been on for, it feels like a month. So, people are, he ain't coming home. He ain't coming home. I'm sitting around waiting for him. He ain't coming home. And I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to post every day and let y'all know if I was coming on or not. But we don't even need to get into all of that. I'm here now. DeAndre Crosby, right out the gate, he's first. Good afternoon, DeAndre. Lewis Talbert says good afternoon. Good afternoon, Lewis Talbert. Lewis Talbert second out the gate. Nathaniel Livingston, representing Toledo, is here. Good afternoon, Nate. Got Crystal Hoskins in the house. Crystal, good afternoon, Crystal. And rounding out the top five, if I can count, Joseph Smith. Ain't that the name of the dude that started the Mormon church? Or was that John Smith? It was like a really generic name. I got nothing against the Mormons or the Mormon church, but if your religion was started by somebody named John Smith, it seemed a little weird. I don't even know where that came from. Joseph, good afternoon, rounding out the top five. Ronald Dixon, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Got Maria Smith in the house representing North College Hill. Darnell Hunter. Darnell, what's up? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Regina Denson Griffin, representing Madisonville. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Edward Bentley. Good afternoon, Edward. Good afternoon. Sean D. Nutter. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Got Crystal Hoskins. I already said Crystal, but she wanted y'all to know she's representing Bond Hill. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. That's about it so far. And look, it's not my fault. If you didn't make the hellos, then you wasn't here fast enough. And I'll try to acknowledge you if you pop in and say hello, but, it may or may not happen. Of course, it's like I said, it feels like it's been about a month, and people are still talking about the big brawl. But since last I was here, I can't think of his name. And you know me, I don't want to classify somebody by their race. But in this case, hold on, maybe I don't have to. Somebody, well, no, hold on, let me look it up. Hold on, give me his name. Give me his name. Because I don't want to call him Alex. Travinsky? Alex Travinsky, the white dude who slapped the black dude. He got charged with something like disorderly conduct or something like that. Disorderly conduct, which I kind of figured that he'd probably be charged with something like that. I figured it would probably be something like that. So Yeah, he got, oh, wait a minute. Tierra Powell, my favorite friend of the week, is in the chat. Good afternoon, Tierra Powell. Y'all know Tierra Powell was on there a few days ago. I feel like probably about a week ago, close to a week ago. She said some things that I felt like were disparaging to the short brothers running around Cincinnati. And I agreed with her. Tierra, we on the same page, okay? They not real men. We are on the same page. And I think they deserve to be mocked and made fun of. If you are under 5'11", you deserve to be mocked and made fun of. You're not a real man. I don't make the rules. I just agree. So, all right. That's it, Tierra. I'm finished. That's it. I just wanted to let it be known I agree with you. They are fair game to be mocked, to be diminished, to be put down, all of that kind of stuff. I just wanted it. I'm done with it. Sierra Brooks, good afternoon. She's representing Boron? Oh, Boston. Boston. Sierra, I thought we was beefing. I'm glad to see that we're not. I know last time you was on, you said F me, and you didn't mean it in a good way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that, at least we back on. You can watch the show terms. And I still love you. I'm not one of the people who say there's nothing you can do about it, because there's certain things that you could do, and I'd be like, I don't love that me no more, but you didn't do it. So I'm glad that you're back. Angela Kirkland Dangerfield, good afternoon. I haven't seen you in a while. No, I know you're probably busy. I'm just teasing, but it is good to see you. Dina Johnson, an angel, is among us. Got an angel among us. And Tanika Yasharaya. Tanika. I don't mean to butcher it. I be trying, every once in a while, I want to give it a shot. And then it's just too many letters. And it's far away. See, if you can see how far the monitor is from where I am, it's far away, so the letters kind of run together. But good afternoon. Diane Huddleston Angel, good afternoon. Mary Birch Lavender in the house. Hold on, I also think I saw Janice. Y'all know she's my favorite. Janice Robertson in the house, good afternoon. Fame in the house, good afternoon. Let's see. Candy D out there in Coleraine Township. Good afternoon. Sarah say, we are still beefing. You came at me crazy. I didn't. I just asked a question. You can't be offended when somebody asks a question. Just answer the question. There's nothing to be offended by that. But I still love you. Just know that. Veronica Burdine, good afternoon. Terry Coleman, good afternoon. Let me see, anybody else? L.A. Magnate says, hey, watching on YouTube. All right. I appreciate you. Do I know you? I can't see. See, it's far away and I can't see your picture. So I'm not sure if I know you, but whether I know you or not, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing a little bit of time with me. Erica Hummins, she says, welcome back. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers, keeping suckers in fear. It's true, I really have. But I did disappear for a minute. Okay, let me see. So, the Russian guy who slapped the guy got charged with disorderly conduct. Look, I do still believe there is a case to be made that he incited I believe there's a case to be made. I don't care what happened before. I don't care what happened before. Because I've heard some theories that, hey, we don't know what happened before that slap happened. All kind of stuff could have happened. They got evidence of all this stuff and we don't know. But if you watch that video, there was a break and he could have walked away scot-free and nothing else probably would have happened. He could have just walked away. But he chose to, after things had been de-escalated, he chose to re-escalate, to re-engage. So there is a case to be made. Will that case be made? No, it won't. And I heard, I was listening to my man Wyatt. If you don't get a chance, check out Wyatt Live. I was listening to my man Wyatt. I heard maybe 10 minutes of his show towards the end. And he was saying, I told y'all. I was right. I told y'all what was going to happen. I knew it. I said it. I laid it out. I told y'all. I was right. I knew it. I told y'all. I said it. I knew it. I told y'all. And he's saying, look, some stuff happened before, and, they probably got evidence that some bad stuff happened. And kind of the evidence of that is, if the prosecutor had some other stuff, they would prosecute, and they're going to use other videos that we didn't see. And I acknowledge all of that is quite possibly true. But all of that is also quite possibly not true. Just a little peek into my brain, right? The idea, and I'm not saying that this is exactly what Mr. Wyatt or other people who, kind of feel along the same lines. I'm not saying this is exactly what they're saying, but this is what I'm getting from what they're saying. They're saying, hey, look, or at least I'm getting, hey, look, if they had evidence against this guy, he would be prosecuted. And they got other evidence that's going to prove the charges against these other people. See, y'all just don't understand the way the system works is they got evidence that you don't know nothing about. So they know what started the fight, and they know this. I say it's not necessarily true. I'm a genuine believer that the people who control whether or not to use and or disseminate the evidence get to use it and or disseminate it at their discretion. So they could, not saying that they do, but just theoretically, they could have a video with audio from an undercover police sergeant. I'll just leave it at that. From an undercover police, like they could have like concrete evidence that this Russian guy started everything inside the bar. But guess what? If they don't want to prosecute that guy, you know what's going to happen to that evidence, right? It's going to either disappear or they just not going to present it. If I'm the prosecutor and I don't want to prosecute somebody, I'm not going to present evidence that means I have to prosecute that person. I'm going to say, I don't have any evidence of that. We're not using no evidence. Connie Pillich apparently was on the Lincoln Ware Show today. I didn't get an opportunity. I listened to, again, maybe 20 minutes of the Lincoln Ware Show. But apparently Connie Pillich was on, and I did hear a very short portion of, I believe he's the head of the FOP. And I only heard maybe 2 minutes of his conversation. So I only got a chance to listen for a really short period of time. So I didn't hear everything that Connie Pillage had to say, which is where the question comes in. If somebody could call me and just kind of do a recap, because I'll go back and listen to it, but I haven't had an opportunity to. Hold on, let me pause here. Somebody might be new, and they're like, why don't this guy, he not listening to this show and he not listening to that show? He only listened to 10 minutes of this or 20 minutes of that, and he didn't hear this and he didn't hear that. And he said, he could have listened before he came on and da-da-da. No. I'm taking some classes, and so I'm very busy. And to get here and to do this, something else is kind of suffering. Suffering is kind of strong. But there's some other things that I could be doing that I'm not doing to do this. So I rushed from school to get here to go live because I know I'm going to have to leave, in about an hour. So I want to at least be able to do an hour. Okay. So that's why I haven't had an opportunity to listen to, hold on, let me open up the phones. If somebody wants to call and kind of give me synopsis, that might not be the best word, of what it is that Connie Pillage had to say. Edward says, isn't all the video we have time-stamped? I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what you're asking me. But back to the point that I was making. So untime out. To say, because we haven't seen the evidence means that the evidence shows this, or there is no evidence to prove this because they haven't brought these charges. I reject that. Now, that's my, if you want to call me conspiracy theorist brain thinking, that's my conspiracy theorist brain thinking. If the prosecutor doesn't want to charge someone, but they have evidence, proof even, that person did what they should be charged with, but I don't want to charge them. They just say, I don't really have evidence to prove that. Or, I got evidence proving something different. And they don't charge them. So the fact that they don't get charged is not proof that they didn't do anything wrong. And the fact that there's video that we don't know about is not proof that this is what happened. And I know that sounds like, you're just talking in circles, but I promise y'all I'm not. Again, the theory is being floated that there's this much better quality taken by people with much more integrity and being reviewed by people with even more integrity who are smarter. I'm like, all of that sound good, but that might not, it could be true, but it might not be true. That's really all I'm saying. I don't buy that the police are always honorable. I don't buy that the prosecutor always does the right thing. I believe that, especially in cases where, we kind of don't know, we have to look at it and say, what did we see? What did our eyes see? So you can tell me, stuff jumped off before then. And it might be true. But again, things were de-escalated. And then he re-escalated. So there is a case to be made. But that all happened. Apparently the prosecutor came on. And I don't know what the prosecutor said. And you can just when you're listening to public figures on, the airwaves, and they're not under oath, even sometimes when they are, don't accept their words as fact. Some people do that. Some people will say, well, the mayor said this, so there you go. The mayor could lie. The prosecutor said this, so there you go. The prosecutor could lie. Just because someone says it doesn't make it so. And I think some of the I'm going to call them, some of the best thinkers and people who solve problems and, in particular, like journalists, which what people say, but they don't accept what you said as a fact. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I know that some journalists and talk show hosts do, good ones, is they ask people questions to get them on the record. Not expecting them to be honest. Not expecting them, he probably not going to tell me the truth. But I'm going to ask the question anyway. Why? Why would I ask the question? Okay, I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I had a flashback because I used to say to somebody, ask this question. And they would say, why would I ask that question when I know they're not going to tell me the truth? And I'm like to get them on the record. You get people on the record as saying something, because then everything that they say after that, now you have a record of them saying one thing. Of course, a lot of this was pre-Trump. Stuff like that mattered pre-Trump. Like, hold on, you said you wasn't there. No, I never said that. Hold on, here's the tape. I wasn't there. Like, you said it. Well, I think, and you catch them lying. And what it does is it, shows like they're not always honest. Integrity is not necessarily there. And it gives people, another something to judge them based on. And sometimes it's straight up catch them doing stuff. You said you wasn't there, but we got a video of you. You right there. So don't always believe everything that you hear somebody say just because they're publicly saying it. A lot of people fall for that. He asked him that question and he said this. And you're like, but that's not true. No, he said it. And, the insinuation is he said it, therefore it must be true. She said she couldn't charge him because of this. But that's not true. And don't be the person who say that somebody who, is held in high esteem and they said something and you're a horrible person because you had the audacity to question the person that I respect. Yeah, this stuff happens. It happens for real. Like, how dare you question the person how dare you say that they said it's not true? This person is a judge. If they said it, it's gotta be true. How could you know more than a judge? This person's a mayor. How could you know more than a mayor? This person's a police officer. How could you know more than a police? This person's a police chief. How could you know more than a person? How could you know more than a council person? This person's well known in the community. How could you know more than this person who's well known in the community? They wouldn't lie. Approach everything with a healthy degree of skepticism. That's my advice when dealing with things like listening to people on the radio say this and say that. Because I saw in some comments, some people were saying that Connie Pillage, who's the prosecutor here in Hamilton County, if you're in different parts of the country, they might be considered the district attorney or what are some other things? Everybody, the district attorney. In Hamilton County, she's the equivalent of the district attorney. And they were saying she said one thing, but then the president of the FOP, if you're in different parts of the country, that's the head of the police union. Some people, it's the Police Benevolent Association or whatever. I don't even really know if that's always the police union and wherever you're from. But they're not functioning in their capacity as a police officer, but as the spokesperson for the union. And some people were saying, well, what she said this, but then the head of the police union proved it. What she said was a lie. And I would say he alleged maybe, and I didn't hear, but I'm just saying, don't necessarily, Ken Kober, okay? But don't necessarily, well, because Connie said it and then the head of the police union said it, then that proves she was lying. He might have just been lying on her. Everything, you gotta be skeptical of everything and everybody. Be skeptical. Question these people. And when I say question, you may inside your head, like, I don't know if I can believe this person. I even question people that I trust, I listen to them. And I'd be like, that sound good. And I trust you. But I wonder if that's all the way true. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to keep watching and see if that's true. I like you. I trust you. Well, let me, look at where your interests and where everything lies. So, yeah, I know y'all, it sounds like he just kind of rambling and saying stuff. And don't nobody, just because somebody come on the radio and they hold a position, don't nobody automatically believe them. Have you paid attention to the comments that people make? People automatically believe these people. I'm telling you, they do. And I'm also telling you, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Don't do it. Hear them out. Give them a level of credibility based on your experience with them and life experience. But don't buy in like 100%. So-and-so said it, so it's gotta be true. That's very rarely ever the case. Except me. They tell me there's an exception to every rule. And to that one, I'm the exception to that rule. If I tell you something, trust me, it's true. Oh, let's go to the phones. Nate.
Emanuel, what's happening, boy?
Hey, what's going on?
Well, I called to give you my report.
All right.
To answer the questions I heard you asking, as many as I can. If I don't know the answer, I'm gonna just tell you that. Now, look, because I think I'm hearing something different than most of these people are hearing in some of these calls.
Okay.
But I think it's important for us to get a timeline too. So, and I don't know why this case has caught my attention. Who can tell why we care about certain cases and we don't care about other cases? And I do hear the criticism from people. Why y'all focused on some people who was downtown fighting? They ain't nobody to be rallying behind, and they don't see the equal justice and the unequal enforcement of the law angle. They don't get some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But so for whatever reason, this has caught my eye, and I'm paying pretty close attention. So the first thing that I think people either didn't watch or watched and didn't catch everything that happened was the bail or bond hearing. That's when Connie's handpicked chief of her criminal division came in and he said a whole bunch of stuff. Number one, he started calling the white people automatically, started calling them victims. Number two, he said that he took at least one of the white victims into the grand jury with him and let them testify against the black people. Can you imagine me and you, we growing up, we have a fight, and mama come home, she want to know what happened, so she separate us, and then she bring me in. I'm gonna go with this thing that I was treated more fairly than you were. So mama bring me in, and she hears my side of the story. She's like the grand jury, and then she don't hear your side of the story. She just comes out and says, he was the victim. So we gonna proceed against you, man. That wouldn't be fair.
No, it
but
wouldn't.
That's exactly what this guy did. He brought the white people in, at least one of them. He didn't say how many, and had them testify against the black people. Now, me having some involvement behind the scenes in the legal system, you know, being a paralegal, I know that a lot of times, now I wanted to say usually, but it may not be usually. A lot of times when you bring somebody in to the grand jury, you offer them immunity because after all, why would they talk to the grand jury if there's a chance that what they say to the grand jury is going to come back on them? So there's a real good chance that this guy who worked everything he does has to be under the, I ain't going to say he has to go back and get approval for everything that he does, but in the end, at the end of the day, everything he does is done in the name, in Connie Pillage's name. So he brings the white people in, or at least one of them, has them testify before the grand jury, and then they come up with all these felonies. So let me just pause right there. Now, I've been listening to the FOP president, right? I listen to him on white radio. I listen to him on a podcast, and I know you be shouting out the Wyatt guy, but I don't know if you be shouting out the Uber driver, him and Kevin Aldridge. But I finally, somebody sent me a link, so I was able to watch the FOP president on the Uber driver's podcast, right? So I've heard him on white radio, I heard him on this podcast, and then I heard him again today on Lincoln Ware. He is consistent in saying that before they went to the grand jury, the Cincinnati police took the evidence that they had gathered thus far, and they took it and had a meeting with Connie Pillage's office, the county prosecutor. Now, some people trying to confuse it. Nah, y'all didn't hear that right. He said the city prosecutor. No, what he said was they had a meeting with Connie's office, the county, and they had another meeting with the city prosecutor's office. And in both of those meetings, they were told by the prosecutors that they could not prove any cases, any felonies against, well, in the case of the city, any misdemeanors. They couldn't prove any criminal charges against any of the white people. So none of the white people broke no crime that they could reasonably believe that they could prove to a jury, and therefore they told the police officers, do not file charges against any of the white people. Now, according to the FOP president, then it became an outcry because black people could see what was going on. So that's when you got in the community all this stuff going on. Enter Scotty Johnson and Vice Mayor Jan Michelle. They go over here to this press conference. And Damon Lynch, I don't know if I want to say this or not. I'm going to just say it. So When I heard that
What's
they
the
was
worst
getting
that can
ready to
happen?
have this, when I heard that they was getting ready to have this conference, I picked up my telephone. I called Damon Lynch, Reverend Lynch, and yeah, I'm hesitating because I didn't necessarily tell him that I was gonna keep our conversation secret, but I also didn't tell him that one day I might get on a podcast and blurt this out. So I'ma just tell. So prior to that, I say basically, Damon, please don't have no meeting and y'all go over there and hoop and holler, and the people that you standing up there with ain't willing to use their power. Y'all gonna ask the people to be mad and to do different things. Don't do that if you ain't willing to turn to the council people and ask them to use their power and their position. And Damon said, you know what? You got a good point. He said, what you got in mind? What could they be doing? So I went through this whole thing about how Scotty is over the law and public safety. They didn't change the name, but basically it's the law and public safety and governance, which is oversight. So Scotty heads up the committee that has oversight authority over the police chief and over the police officers and over the detectives and over the guys who responded to the scene. Scotty has the power as a councilman and to chair that committee. He could pull any one of them police officers, and in fact, he could call in because the first word is law. At least in the old name, it was law and public safety, which means not just police, but the law department. So he could call in the prosecutor. He could call in the solicitor. He could call in all them people. And I suggested to Lynch, you ought to talk to Scotty and tell him stand strong, and the community's going to stand behind him, and tell him to call in them people, use his power to exercise some oversight over the people who work for the city. Damon said, man, it's a good idea. We talked about a few more things that I won't share those things. So I'm watching the community press conference that they had. And Scotty's up there, he's and we see what's going on. And the white people ain't been and they keep telling us that we gotta wait on the investigation to be over, but they not telling the white community that they gotta wait. So Damon, in a real smooth way, because Damon has said, I'm not really participating. I just opened up my doors. We having the press conference at my church, but I ain't really part of it. I'm just letting them do their thing. But then he kept stepping up to the mic, and he would say, well, I want to say this and this and this. So when Scotty hadn't said what he was going to do, that, no concrete action, Damon sort of nudged him. Like, yeah, and I hear Scotty want to make an announcement about something that he's going to do down in City Hall. And Scotty steps up and he says, basically, yeah, we're going to be having a meeting. Now, remember, council is on vacation. They on their summer vacation. So Scotty steps up, yeah, we're going to be having something coming. He didn't say we're going to have a meeting. He said, you're going to be hearing something in 24 to 48 hours, some kind of concrete action that's going to be coming out of City Hall. So I just smiled and said, Lynch got him. You know what I'm saying? He done put out a timeline, and the only thing I could think that he was going to come up with was we're going to have an oversight hearing. Now, and again, some of this is a little in the weeds, but I think it's important that people understand how this stuff works because everybody ain't involved in it like that, and they got to know, that I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking off the top of my head. So in order for there to be when the council's on vacation, right before the jazz festival, it was a lot of commotion about young people being out of control. And so Ashab, y'all mayor, went and he said, we're going to have a special council meeting. They was on vacation. He said, we're going to have a special council meeting. So the Wednesday before the jazz festival or the music festival, whatever you want to call it, they had a special meeting of council. Now, if you go online to the City of Cincinnati's website, you can search through the clerk. They got a clerk of court, just like the courts have a clerk of council. They got a clerk of council. I might have messed it up. A clerk of courts for the courts and a clerk of council for the city council.
Right.
So they keep all their records. Everything they do is in writing. So it's a written record of Tab them calling for a special meeting of the city council. To have a meeting, and I know somebody's saying, where are you going with this? To have a special meeting or a special committee meeting, you have to have at least 2 members of council have to put it in writing. That piece of paper that they put has to be filed with the clerk of council. So if you go right now today to find out when was the meeting scheduled by Scotty Johnson, there is no such paper. So him and Jan Michelle went on the radio after the press conference, and Scotty said, we're going to have this oversight meeting. Now, behind the scenes, they were saying, well, you know, we didn't necessarily say this. We don't know what good it's going to do. And they had, like, you know, his aunt, Janice, who we all love, was saying the same thing. You know, his sister, Julie Johnson, was saying the same thing. Well, you know, yeah, he did say it, but, you know, what good is it going to accomplish? What's the purpose? So, not letting y'all know that it was some questions, even back then, about what did the police do, who told them not to file the charges, what was the holdup in the investigation, why was the charges filed on the black people so fast and not filed on the white people. So Scotty lied to the community. He said that he had called this meeting, him and Jan Michelle, and I could tell you when he said he went to, they was having he was at some kind of black family reunion. They had some kind of booth, and Lincoln Ware was broadcasting live, and Scotty Johnson and Jan Michelle both came up, and Jan Michelle, I noticed, was very quiet. She didn't say nothing, but Scotty went up there, and he was rah-rahing, woofing, you know what I'm saying, we going to have this meeting, and we going to call he named the people he was going to call. He said, we're going to have the chief of police down here in front of council. And we're going to have the city prosecutor down here in front of council. And we're going to have the law director down here in front of council. And we're even going to send a special invitation. We can't force her to come, but we're going to send a special invitation to the county prosecutor. This was Scotty. He said it on the record, as you talk about asking questions to get it put on the record. So he said this stuff. Then come to find out he never had went down there and called for no meeting. There was no meeting. Now, he came a few days later when he was announcing to the black community that he was canceling the meeting that he had never called. He said, well, I took another route. I went and had a conversation with the city manager, and she said that she wasn't going to allow the police chief to come, and she wasn't going to be able to answer any questions. And the more I thought about it, you know, that kind of makes sense, because what good would have come from? He started saying the same stuff that his aunt had been saying and that his sister had been saying. Well, you know, yeah, I did say it, but it wouldn't have did no good. Now, here's how it would have did some good. Because until today, some people did not know about this meeting between the police and the county prosecutor and the police and the city prosecutor. They didn't know about this. Scotty could have fleshed that out weeks ago. Could have had the black community having some understanding. Now, maybe we would have said, well, you know, the explanation they're giving us makes sense. Or maybe we would have said, that's some bullshit. You know, but to lie to the people is not a good look. So you got the white people going in front of the grand jury. You got the county prosecutors rushing to judgment, determining that the white people is the victims and the black people is the culprits, and that they deserve the felony charges. And you got everybody at City Hall, who, at least the people who talking to the black community, pretending we just don't know what's going on. We don't have no way of finding out. We don't have no way of giving this information to y'all. So it's really pitiful, and it's deceptive, and it's really ought to be a scandal that they're allowed to do this stuff. Now, I know inevitably they're going to say, well, what you trying to say, that we shouldn't vote for Scotty Johnson? You know, that's where they always go. What you trying to say, that we shouldn't support these people? Cecil Thomas is doing the best he can over National Action Network. I'm saying the black community in Cincinnati is not being well served by people who are refused to do their job. Before I forget, one more thing that Ken Colbert said on Lincoln Way that I'm sure very few people caught. So, in between when Scotty stood up at Damon Lynch Church and said he was going to have some kind of action within 24 to 48 hours, and when he stood up on Lincoln Ware's show and said that he was calling this special council committee, according to the FOP president, him and Scotty had a personal conversation. This came after the FOP issued out their endorsements, and they did not endorse Scotty Johnson. Now, what Ken Colbert says, and of course I'm paraphrasing, is I called Scotty after that and to let him know that basically we still friends, and I didn't agree with what the FOP did, but I'm the president and I got to go with it if they didn't want to endorse you. And he even told why. He said a lot of them were mad about the stuff that Scotty Johnson had been saying about the Cincinnati brawl. Now, only after that telephone conversation does Scotty come back and say, I met with the city manager and we ain't having no more meetings. And you ain't heard him reschedule that meeting? You ain't heard him talking about we getting ready to come back into session in September, and I'm going to have that police chief, and I'm going to have the law director, and I'm going to have the prosecutor, and we going to invite Connie, and once and for all, we going to have Ken Colbert tell the same thing he's saying on all these different radio stations and platforms. We're going to have him say it down here in City Hall in front of the cameras and in front of the microphones, and we're going to dare Connie Pillage to call him a lie or tell another story. So if you know how the system works, Ken Colbert is the only one who's telling a story that even make any sense.
Now, what?
And did do it.
Hold on. What did Connie say? I didn't hear Connie's interview at all. So what did Connie say?
Connie is sticking with her story. Her story is, people need to understand that the city prosecutes misdemeanors and the county only prosecutes felonies. And so we have no investigators at the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office, which is a lie, by the way. We don't investigate crimes. We only take what the police give us. And so it was the Cincinnati police that never asked us to file any charges against any of the white people. That's why we just did what they said. So again, that's in direct contradiction to what Ken Colbert is saying. Ken is saying, we took all the evidence over there, and the prosecutors told us, don't y'all sign off on them charges. So, and Connie is saying, they never even brought us. They never even came over here and asked us about it. They never brought us the information. They never brought us the evidence. And so, both of the stories can't be true. One person is lying, one person is telling the truth.
But you know what?
Again,
but you know, no matter if that's what was said, and I'm not saying you lying, but you know, I had to hear it from myself to know with 100% certainty that that's what was said. If that's what was said,
boy, if I tell you tomorrow is Christmas, you know you can just go hang your stockings because I ain't going to. Go ahead.
If the police went to the prosecutors and the prosecutors told them,
not the FO. I'm sorry, not the FOP.
No, I said if the police went to the prosecutors and the prosecutors told them don't file charges, and they agreed to not file charges, that's a problem in and of itself.
Absolutely.
The prosecutor shouldn't be telling the police where the evidence lead. Look, we saw evidence that we believe should be charged, and so we gonna present it to you. And if you wanna not, follow through, that's on you. But that's a bad look for the police. So I think maybe the chief need to be questioned about that as a practice.
Absolutely. You know, I feel like I've talked too long, and I can't read the comments. Well, I ain't as good as what's the
Key,
young lady who called you?
Key, my
Key.
girl,
I ain't
Key.
as good as Key, who can talk and read the comments at the same time. But you know, I think sometimes like a lot of people was sort of disappointed in Barack Obama once they saw all
Hello?
kind of out of the ordinary. Hello?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit or
Amen.
you disappeared.
Oh, I'm sorry. Every time we would ask Barack, we would always get this, oh, he can't do that. Oh, he don't. But Trump, everything his base asking to do, he found a way to do it. Damn the lawsuit. Damn the this, say even sometimes damn the Constitution. I'm going to try. If my base want me to do it, I'm going to give it my all. So I bring that up because if you look at the federal system, Trump has a law enforcement, even though they're not national police, but just bear with me. He's got his FBI and his director, Cash Patel, and he's got what would be his solicitor's office, which is also his prosecutor's office. That's the Department of Justice. If Trump was in the position, his equivalent in Cincinnati is the city manager. The police chief and the law director, even though I disagree with Ken Cobra on this, he said after issue 5, they answer directly to the mayor. Unless I'm misreading or misremembering, no, they didn't take that power away from the city manager. But so the city manager is over the police chief. The police chief is over the detectives. The police chief is over the rank and file officers. If the police chief issues out an order saying, like she did at that press conference, I'm ordering my officers to arrest and file charges against everybody who hits.
All right, you disappeared again. Yeah, you in a bad spot. Oh, the phone just dropped. Yeah. Yeah, something happened with his phone. But yeah, no, if I mean for real, think about it. It is like Samuel says, the police file the charges. The prosecutor, as he put, defends the charges. If I can, as the prosecutor, I can come to you and say, you know what I'm saying? You come to me and you like, Mr. Prosecutor, I have credible evidence that this person committed this crime, so we won't file charges against this person. And you saying to me, and I turn and I say to you, no, we not. Don't file those charges. And your response is, okay, that's a broken system. That's a broken system. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Look, it's all about, from that perspective, it's all about accountability. See, if I'm the police or the police chief, no, we filing the charges. Now, y'all can decide whether or not y'all want to pursue the charges any further. Y'all can dismiss the charges or whatever y'all want to do, but we filing them. We gonna do what's right. We gonna do what's legal. And then y'all can play all the political games y'all want to play around them. But if I won't cover, you know what I'm saying? If I'm, and again, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but if I'm in that position, I'm Connie. I don't want to charge no white people. It's a little hot out here, you know. People are mad about this. A lady got punched in the eye, apparently, and some pictures that may or may not be real got circulated, and people are really mad. I don't want people, when I come up for election, looking at me like, oh, you didn't charge those savages that punched that white lady. So I'm like, if you just don't file the charges, I don't have to I don't have to do nothing. And I can still play like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I would have charged them if I could have, but that's not our job. So I'm not giving the prosecutor cover. Then political games. And that's why I keep saying, or that's why I said earlier, first, don't believe everything that they say. And just because charges wasn't filed, don't mean charges wasn't warranted. Don't confuse those two. Did they file charges? No. Well, then they didn't do nothing wrong. And wrong. It's not necessarily the case. CK. Going once?
Yeah, sir. I'm sorry about that. I had you on mute, brother. My bad. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, great topic, man. Yeah, you just made a great point for us. You're saying just because don't go by the narrative. It's a narrative they're putting out when they say don't charge, right? So they try, like you said, they're trying to spin a narrative. Well, if we're not charging, that means they didn't do anything. That's what you're saying?
Yes. And there are a lot of people who see that and who honestly believe that.
Yeah. So how do you feel? Does that correlate with the late Johnny Carson when he said a grand jury could indict a ham sandwich? Is that kind of the same in the same family?
Sure. Yeah.
So he kind of was talking about the same thing.
Say that again.
You said so. He was pretty much saying the same thing. You saying that?
Hold on. Yes. I honestly believe they can get an indictment on anybody.
Right.
The same way they can blow an indictment against anyone.
So in this case, he got indicted, and they recommended him not to get charged or something after he got indicted.
Say that again.
The white man. So you saying the white man, he did get charged with the assault?
I saw in the paper where he was charged with a misdemeanor disorderly conduct.
And I think okay. So let's come to a agreement for us. Disillusion. How about just charge everybody with that? Would you agree? Would that be a fair solution for you? All parties involved?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're saying that's not fair. So
no,
you won't.
Look, some of those people did more than just disorderly conduct. Okay?
I know, but come on now. You remember the Texas homicides, motorcycle gang? We got bodies, and nobody was charged. We got bodies, a motorcycle gang, over 50, 60 people killed, nobody charged. So you could throw this. You don't have to charge people. Okay, they made a mistake. Can we drop the charges? Or is that impossible?
Well, we don't drop charges.
Okay.
You and I have no say, or very little to no say, over whether or not those charges get dropped. Now, I'm assuming when you're saying, "Can we drop the charges?" I'm assuming you mean, can the charges just be dropped? Can the prosecutor's office just drop those charges? I guess theoretically they could, but there would be a lot of pushback about that, and I don't even think I would like that. I don't like the idea that, things like that can happen and everybody just look at it and say, oh, well, shit happened, and go about their business. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. E-man, that's where we need to get back to. Okay, it happened. Let's move on. You don't need to be 30, 40 years in the penitentiary, Livingston.
I agree that, some of those charges, a lot of those charges seem to be overboard. But I don't want to go downtown or go anywhere and be assaulted and have the police and or the prosecutor just look at it and say, oh, well, shit happens. Everybody going about their business. No, I want somebody prosecuted. You know what I'm saying? If somebody just assault me. So yeah, I don't agree. Just let everything go. But I do think the charges are overboard, and I would agree that the charge for the slapper is undercharging. But I understand how they came to that. I just don't agree with it.
Livingston, I want you to understand this is very important, sir.
All right.
Because you're not no punk yourself, right? So I cannot, if I assault you, right?
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Somebody tell me if y'all am I still on? Something happened here, and it looked like maybe I went off. So can y'all still hear me? Rainbow. Somebody type in rainbow. If you can hear me, type in rainbow, and that way I'll know you can hear me. If I see the word rainbow pop up, I know I'm still on. If not, okay, looks like I'm still on. Okay. All right. But that's that. Yeah, I do not. I don't want people to not be prosecuted. But y'all can see the games that are being played. I mean, assume for 1 minute that the head of the FOP is telling the truth. Like I said, that's a bad practice. That is a bad practice. Now, let's assume for a minute that the head of the FOP is lying. Let's assume that the head of the FOP is lying. Well, that would kind of be just par for the course for heads of the FOP. But why would he tell such a lie? You'd have to wonder that. Is it a political thing? Wants to turn the black community against Connie Pillage and, get a Republican in that office again? It's a lot of... See, Twin just called and something happened. Hold on, I'm going to reset the phones. Hold on a second. Logged out. Okay, got it. Log back in. Yeah, it looked like something might be going on. Hold on. Let me reset these phones. It's been a minute, so the phones might just be use fingerprint or face recognition. No, thank you. I don't trust y'all with my fingerprints and all that stuff. All right. So the phones have been reset. So if you want to give us a call, 513-717-5464. Again, I got to head out in about 10 minutes. So I got about 10 minutes left in this show. So if you want to give me a call, you can give me a call. CK?
Yeah, I'm back, man.
All right, CK, you got about a minute left because I mean, you were on for a minute, but I know you wanted to go ahead and finish that thought. So you were saying,
I ain't want nothing, man. It's all good, man. Hey, you know what I call it, folks. Pray for the family. Much love to everybody, man, in the comment section.
All right.
Y'all have a good one.
You do say. All right, that was CK. Anonymous.
Hey, this is Edsel. How are you doing?
How are you doing? Edsel.
I'm pleasant per usual.
Yes. What's on your mind?
Oh, not a whole hell of a lot. I was just curious. You literally haven't done a show in a month of Mondays, and you come with this monkey ass shit about this. This stuff is dead. It's over.
It's not.
Okay, well, please. I'm not being facetious. I'm not trying to troll you or nothing. But what am I missing that's new?
Well, here is what some people are mistaking this conversation to be. Some people are mistaking this to be, or, not just this conversation, but conversations about this at this point, to be about a brawl in the street. The conversation is no longer about a brawl in the street. The conversation is about equal protection under the law. The conversation is about equal justice. The conversation is kind of turning out to be who's actually the people who actually do investigations and decide when to or not to file charges. That's supposed to be the police. But apparently it's the prosecutor's office allegedly, it's the prosecutor's office telling the police not to file charges on people that they don't want to prosecute, even if there's evidence that they may have committed a crime. This is no longer a conversation about a street fight. It's a conversation about our system of government and our system of justice.
And black folks in Hamilton County, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA, have been getting hosed by this local government, that you routinely usurps the 14th Amendment. They've been getting hosed for how long?
I'm not sure, but what's the point of you asking that?
I'm just saying, if I look back, let me see. Tracy Hunter got hosed. They marched over to the judge's house at 4 in the afternoon, which I still don't get what was the point of that. 4 in the morning would have been better, but I get it. They marched for pretty much everybody that's been shot by the police. All these things. My thing is that at some point, quit crying and marching and go down there, and maybe you need to go for what you know. Or you've decided to go for what you know and decided, look, the best way to not get jammed up in some 13th and 14th Amendment shit, equal protection under the law, is to not get jammed up with the police. It's not that hard to stay off the police radar.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's not really that hard.
Yeah.
An adult does it very well. A 20-something-year-old adult doesn't know how to do it, but a grown-up knows how to stay out of the police way.
No. That's not true. Again, I can recount.
Hold on. Before you expound,
okay.
I didn't call to argue with you.
Okay.
I called to welcome you back and to just kind of wonder, why are you talking about this again? I thought that was over with. I need enlightenment.
Okay. Well, did I enlighten you?
Not really. I mean, it was just like, oh, okay, but I understand why you may be upset. But like I said, my contention is just, you're gonna get jammed up and get an unfair shake with the police. Just don't get jammed. It's hard to stay out of their radar. But hey, I understand. More power to anybody who's out here and trying to take down the Russian and really take down pillage and whatnot. I get it.
I'm not
but
sure
I don't
you do.
know, what did you expect?
I'm not
Go
sure
ahead,
you
I'm
do
sorry.
get it, but
I do get it. What do you expect? What do you expect? Like the old song say by KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions. What do you expect when you rhyme like a soft punk? What do you expect marching and bitching all the time? You better go up there and knock somebody upside their motherfucking head and let them know you mean business.
well, I don't.
You've been marching for 70 fucking years.
But can I
They're
tell
immune
you?
to that.
Hold on. Can I tell you how I think you're off base, even with the fake passion that you just exhibited? I think
why is it gotta be fake passion? I resent that.
it felt fake.
I resent that.
Okay, it felt fake to me. I'm just telling you.
Well, you know what? You coming back talking about blah blah blah. First caller out the thing after a month is your brother. That felt fake.
Okay.
But go ahead. I didn't say nothing. But go ahead.
That's okay. I feel like you're a part of the problem. I feel like
What's that?
let me expound. If I see a group of people mad about a perceived injustice, trying to pull the covers back and expose this perceived injustice, and then I run in and I tell them, you a soft ass, why you still worried about this? Why you still talking about this? What else do you expect? In essence, what I'm trying to tell them is, don't pull back the covers. Don't expose the injustice. Don't do anything about the injustice. Just accept the injustice and move on. And I think that attitude gets so many people at a point of complacency. And that's a part of, not the whole reason, but that's a part of why things don't change, because there's always a group of people, when they see people trying to pull back the cover and expose things, that want to tell them, stop exposing stuff. It just is the way it is and just accept it. And I think that's dangerous. Me personally, I think what you're doing and saying is dangerous.
I think misconstruing what I'm suggesting and keep going down a road well traveled with no results, I think that's dangerous. Again, these people got themselves aligned and onto the police blotter for whatever reason. This ain't the one. That's all I'm saying. This ain't the one. If they're kicking people in the head, relieving them of his possessions, all that shit, this ain't the one. There's been other matters that it could have been well established that we're going for justice on this one.
And when people went for justice on those, people still told them, why y'all marching? Why y'all beefing? Why y'all bitching? Just, you understand it is the way it is. Just let it go.
No, because I went to Cleveland for Tamir Rice.
There's never going to be some perfect incident where everybody's like, oh yeah, you're right on this one.
Exactly.
You got to fight
Exactly.
sadly, you got to fight every fight. And this ain't even about the people kicking people in the head or anything like that. This is not in defense of them. Again, my position is, hey, you were down there and you probably did some stuff you shouldn't have done. So if you got prosecuted for what you actually did, you probably deserved it. But the other people who did stuff should get prosecuted as well. And you shouldn't be prosecuted, overly above and beyond everything, whatever.
Know that with black folks.
What?
Trust me. We know that with black folks. You're going to get over adjudicated.
And you're saying, when you say stuff like that, it's almost like you're saying, it is what it is, so we should just accept it. No, we should fight against it every time.
That is the 100. That is the 180 degrees exact of what I'm not saying. My saying is, I'd rather live like a cherub and just stay out of their damn way than to be down there 2 a.m, drunk, jumping motherfuckers in my mid to late 30s.
Again, it feels to me
but
like
it's not about them. But you've explained it.
Yes.
But you've explained it. It's not about them.
Yes,
I get it. I was just explaining my position when you try to call me, when you try to throw a little innuendo out there. I'm like, hold on, brother, that's not the case. But hey, Emanuel, I'm glad you're back. You were going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I didn't know what innuendo I threw out there.
Oh, like that I was soft caping for white folks, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't play me like that.
You were.
Because these monkey-ass niggas.
You were.
Because these monkey-ass niggas on your show will take that, and they don't think that, like, I patrol 275 looking for you niggas.
But
like, don't talking shit.
But Edsel, you were You wasn't
No,
even
it wasn't.
soft.
No, I
You
just
wasn't
don't.
even soft caping. You was hardcore. Like you went all the way in.
Like I told you, people who've actually been to jail know that it's very easy to stay out the police radar. If you've never been to jail, you think that blah, 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 everything is this, that, and the other. Until you go behind the great steel gate and you realize, like, that was totally avoidable and unnecessary.
All right.
You know? But, hey, it's been real. I had fun. And it don't matter if I'm on your back or on your ass. There's a wolf coming after to see you. Oh!
That's fair. Edsel, I'm sorry. He said his name is Edsel. If the man say his name is Edsel, I kind of got to take his word for it, but I want some proof. So that was Edsel. I didn't necessarily agree with what he was saying. Look, again, no matter what, it's always going to be somebody to say, yeah, no, stop this and stop that. All right, I'm going to give you probably you got about 3 minutes.
Hey, what's up, E-Man?
How you doing, sir?
I ain't want too much. Welcome back, E-Man. I ain't want too much, man.
No, it's all good.
That's all I had to say, E-Man.
That's it? Yeah, you going to play me
Yeah,
like
that's all.
you going to play me like I'm Joyce? You going to run from me like you ran from Joyce today?
See, I can't get that crowd over there started. Man. I ain't want to. You know I don't do that because he did Zoe like that, and I'm not that type of person or whatever. And I did it on purpose.
You ran.
And everything. Well, you can say whatever you want to say.
But I did say whatever I want to say. You. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, the reason why you ran, you can say whatever you want to say, but you definitely ran.
Okay, I mean, in your ass, but he know that I don't do that Jerry Springer stuff. That back and forth, he know I don't do that because Zoe tried it with me, and I said, no, I'm not about to do no back. But I did it on purpose. See how his orders react. And they, twin ran. He did this. You know, you part of the cheerleader before.
You did run. You can't even debate that, bro. We all heard it. You ran. Now, you can say, look, I ran because I don't want to do the back and forth. And that's cool. That's why you ran. But you can't act like you didn't run.
I mean, your eyes, you consider that, but I got off the phone because, like you said, I didn't want to do the back and forth.
You ran because you didn't want to back and forth.
Man, there you go, man. See, I just called and congratulate you back on the podcast, and here you go with the same issue they have, man.
All I'm doing is this. That's factual.
You should have said, "What's up, bro?" And everything all good, kept it there. But you ran.
What's up, bro? You did, but you did. Lil Wayne said he ain't never ran from a nigga, but he damn sure ain't about to pick the day to start running. And you said, well, I'm picking today. I'm running from this. Hey, today was your running day. You was the running man today.
The running man? Welcome back, man. You got me dying laughing. Welcome back, man. I ain't got nothing else to say, man.
Twin, I appreciate your call. Have a great day. All right. You ran today. Oh, he said, I'm going to run today. That's for sure. Y'all, I got to get out of here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me for this short time. I think I'll be back tomorrow. I'm fairly certain I'll be back tomorrow. But I can't say with 100% certainty. It all depends on what they, if they throw out some more complicated stuff that I had to figure out, I won't be on. But the stuff that we're doing right now, I'm grasping it. He did say it was something else that we were supposed to. What are we working on tomorrow? We were doing VLANs today, which was simple. And tomorrow, it was something else he said we was working on. But it sounded simple and getting a grasp on IPv6, which sounds fairly simple as well. So I think I'll be on tomorrow. Oh, let me see. Mary say, not gonna hold my breath. No, don't hold your breath. Oh, that's why I said I think, but I can't say with 100% certainty. But I do have somewhere that I have to go today. Again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. When you're listening to these people, don't believe everything they say. Hear it, process it. You might even give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's not necessarily a fact. It's not necessarily a fact. Be skeptical. And I think I can take a minute, maybe. Ooh, I'm really late. The idea that we have to have some perfect situation. Because I've heard this over and over and over again. Like, oh, this ain't the situation where you want to be, saying something is wrong. This ain't the situation where I could see if it was this. I could see if it was that. Like, no. Every situation where you see injustice. Like, here's what you're saying. This is what I hear when I hear people say stuff like that. Of course, I'm going to relate it back to something that a lot of people hopefully can relate to. Rosa Parks wasn't the first person that didn't give up her daggone seat. And I'm not saying that people didn't, come out and say something when it was somebody else. But we shouldn't have to find Rosa Parks. We shouldn't have to find somebody that fit the mold perfectly to... A dark-skinned sister should be able to say, I'm not giving up my seat, and we should all rally behind her. She shouldn't have to be Rosa Parks. A single mother should be able to say, I'm not giving up my seat, and we should all be able to rally behind her. Instead of, oh, well, who can we get? She's pretty. She's light-skinned. She ain't got no kids. She ain't got none of this. She's got to be the perfect person in order for us to build this movement around. That should not. I mean, it was wonderfully strategic, and it is what it is. The history speaks for itself, but it shouldn't have to be that. And sometimes it's black people telling black people, what she did, she got arrested for not giving up her seat. And we should rally and do something about it. And it's some black person in the back telling us, she too dark. She too dark. We can't fight for her. We got to wait until the right situation come along. Oh, she got arrested because she didn't give up her seat. She got a baby. And that baby ain't got no daddy. We got to wait for the right situation. No, we shouldn't. And it's the black people saying it. I want black people as a whole to stop. Stop it. You can ask for fairness in the justice system without justifying what they did. Not one time have I said, at least I don't think so, not one time have I said, hey, it's all right to, kick bitches in the head. Not one time have I said that. But I can say 34 years and now that's too much. That's too much for a brawl in the street. That's too much. And then these people get nothing? It's too much, and that's not enough. There should be fairness. We should be more advanced to where we don't have to have a perfect situation before we call for justice. Because given that as the standard, will you ever stand up for justice? Will there ever be a perfect situation? No, there won't. Because very few of us are perfect. I mean, again, one of them exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, y'all ain't perfect. We can't be waiting for perfection. We got to stand up for justice anywhere we see injustice. And I didn't even get to talk about the guy who, because I hadn't seen this, and I hadn't watched the news. I didn't get to talk about the guy, apparently, who shot the 3 people. And I saw his picture, and I was like, I've been telling y'all for years that just because somebody gets shot in, the black community don't necessarily mean it was somebody black. But that's just one in. That's just because we know about him. All right, I got to get out of here. I said like a minute and a half. That was like 5 minutes. I got to get out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully I will see y'all tomorrow. If I don't see y'all tomorrow, enjoy the rest of the week. But I plan on seeing y'all tomorrow. Until next time, be the reason to something.